starting on working on the saw head and putting that all together. So I pulled the trailer out for now. It's all completed. Threw all the cardboard in where the trailer was, where I put it together. And today I'm going to start putting the saw head together. I have the 14 horse Kohler engine. So I'm starting out by putting the front posts in the saw head. Well, I started putting it together by putting these front posts in. And then I was looking at it, how it looked all wrong. This part should be flipped around in this way. The blade is supposed to be downward, so I'm gonna change that to the right way. Glad I didn't finish mounting it all together and realize I did it backwards. I have it up right now, and I'm gonna go on to the next steps. In the book. Added these head lockdown plates to all four corners. You only do this when you have the Woodlander trailer. I had to take this spacer out. The two plates equal to the same width of the spacer, so I'm not locking them down just yet. They're just in there loosely. So I put on the lubrication tank, which lubricates the blade. I put it in the top brace that holds it square and strong. Put the dashboard on, the little hour meter, the hand crank to lift it up and down. Got all the bolts in loosely, so I'll have to make sure it's all square. And I'm still hooking up the handle and other components. It's November 1st, a very windy and snowy day. Got my head all assembled. I just gotta tighten the bolts. So, since I last showed you, I just had this assembly partly together, and I added the dashboard, the crank to lift the head up and down. Ran the cables, which was pretty easy. Added the measuring bar, or I gotta look in the book for the proper names. The handle. So before I tighten it all down, I have to get it onto the track so it can kind of settle. So I screwed the chain, or I forget what the name of these screws are. They go in pretty deep into the header, and I'm just lifting up. So I gotta just push the trailer back a little bit at a time, and so I can try to lift and roll it on. So this is where I'm at right now. It's hard when you're doing it by yourself, so just taking my time to do it right without dropping and breaking it or me getting hurt. So I have it on now. I haven't rolled it yet. But I want to put it over the axle so I can get the jack stands down so it doesn't make the trailer a bind. Now what I've been doing is the head lockdown brackets, I just turned them. They're already on with the rollers, but I had to turn it up and hook it up in these spots right here. So this one isn't done yet. I'm just in the process of doing it. I'm gonna take the sweeper off here, put a longer bolt in to go through that bracket, which is down right now. I gotta lift it up to line up with the hole. But it's pretty chilly out here, no heat. These are the brackets for the head lockdown that I put on. I just drilled the hole through. So you put the pin and then that, so all four corners. Tighten the handle. Tighten all the carriage bolts. Seems to run down the track pretty good. The next couple things I have to do is tension the blade and track it as I tension it. Adjust these bandsaw guides, blade guides. Put oil in the engine. Get some windshield washer fluid to stick in the tank up there, and I'll be ready to try it. Bought the lap siding attachment, but I'm not going to put it on until I get familiarized with what I have, because putting this all together, there's so many parts, and just adding the trailer to the sawmill, you had to discard some of the previous parts to use the trailer hardware, bolts and other things like that. So I didn't want to have all these parts out, so it's another process to add the attachment for the slab siding. So I would have to take all this apart to put it on and add different parts, and I thought I'd just try it out first and then add it later. Oh, it took me a bit to get the tracking on the bandsaw blade, but when I finally did, there's still a little bit of adjustments. It's not the way I would like it, but it takes time to learn this. And I cut a few boards right here, a couple 1-inchers. I had a couple of chunks of logs out back, so I tried it out on that. That probably took like 10 minutes, not even, to do all that. Just kind of cuts through like butter, but it's leaving some little marks on it. The first few cuts didn't. I don't know if you can see that or not. First few cuts didn't. Now they are, but I noticed there's a couple of teeth broken, and the band did come off the very first time I tried it. I felt like it was tracking okay, but then it popped off when I put the extension out. Right here, it bind up on the guide here, and that turned, dent this little yellow guard up. I had to straighten that out with a hammer. So it's gonna take some time. Just gotta have patience. So we'll see. Couple of logs that I cut out of the bush there last summer. They're actually blowing over trees, so these are the logs that I tried my Alaskan saw on for the first time, which hopefully I'll never use again, because one little 6-inch, 8-inch log took a couple hours just setting up and cutting what I want. That's what this jig is for that I'm using as like a little shelf right now, to go on a 10-foot log right here. But like I said, this only took like 10 minutes, so I'd rather use my sawmill.